Good day, folks. This is Greg Judy at Green Pasture Farm. Today, Alex and I are moving the sheep. We've got a new paddock put in front of him. So he's wrapping up the one wire, which has got a 6,000 volts in it. That's poly braid. And O'Brien step-ins. That's what we're using. We've got Powerflex poly braid, and then we're using timeless posts down through the woods. I'll show you our permanent fence here in a minute. Here they go. So he's not pulling the post, he's just rolling the wire up. And once all the sheep and the dogs go through, he's going to wrap that wire right back up. And we're going to pull the sheep mineral and the dog feed. The sheep-proof dog feeder is going to be pulled forward too. Man, I tell you what, they look so darn healthy. Jiminy Christmas. They're going after it. Alex, just leave that on the ground. We got to pull those feeders through. Yep. I'm going to let you grab the mineral and the dog feeder, and then we'll gang up on the deer parts here in a minute. You can see where they've been. Look at this. Here on the right, here on the left. Y'all see a difference? We did leave some residual in here though, because we're going to be back here with the cows in 2 months. So this will all be cleaned off. It'll get some rain on it, some snow, some cold weather, and be good to go. Yeah. The timeless we have up here by the cedars. I just want to walk you up and show you this fence. It goes all the way down around this farm, and we started with one wire, then we put in a sheep wire, which is at about 12 inches. And I want to show you, there is no maintenance when you use timeless posts. They no painting. You don't need to drill them. You don't need to sharpen them. Just use them. They're going right through the middle of this stuff. I'm gonna show you. We got the bales fenced off. We ran one poly just to keep the sheep from getting into them. But it's got a 36 joule charger on it, and it's powering 3 farms. And it's still putting out between 6,000 to 8,000 volts. There it is. You can see the white post down in there? I'm gonna go up here at the top. Yeah, if I can get through there. I'm gonna show you how clean this fence is. By running your post inside of a cedar grove, there's no maintenance. Folks, we haven't cut brush off this fence since we built it. And Ben was here, Ben and Isaac. We built this fence in 2019, 6 years ago. I mean, look at that. There's no brush on it. We didn't even use springs. I just used these daisy tensioners. And you know what? They're holding up just fine. The wire still looks brand new because it's not getting any sun on it. That's 12 gauge, 170,000 PSI. High tensile. Anywhere we have a corner where we need strength, we drive a fiberglass post. You could use the H post for timeless for that same deal. We had the fiberglass, that's why I used them. But look at this fence. I want to be careful I don't touch this. That sucker's hot. That was close. That sucker's hot. I got a tickle right there. Just because it's powering 3 farms, we use all good insulating posts. You don't have any shorts. Now, if a tree falls on it and knocks it to the ground, and both those wires are on wet ground, you're going to hear a popping noise. But what's amazing, by running up through these cedars like this, the cedars don't fall over. They just keep growing, it seems like. And they don't drop a lot of limbs either. The only thing they drop underneath there is needles. Any limb you see on the ground here, we cut it off. It didn't fall off of a cedar. You can see the cut marks on the end of these. So up here we made a corner. That is a sucker rod, fiberglass sucker rod. Okay. Come down here. Here we hooked on. We needed some power over there for our pond. I was just looking at it, it's not touching, it's close. But we ran it clear up in the top of that tree, and then we went across in the air and back down to the pond. That keeps the cattle from making a swimming pool bathtub out of our pond. Keeps it clean. We got fish in that pond. I don't want cattle wading off in there pooping and peeing. People say that cattle deserve a pond. Well, yeah, they can drink from it if you make a rock skirt. This pond right here, you can see it through there. It's got a beautiful rock skirt on it. A matter of fact, I think that's the very first pond that we put a rock skirt on, and it works really, really good. Okay. Look at this. It's beautiful back in here. There was 2 deer harvested off this farm this last week, and some good venison. And there's probably at least another 20 or more that are still roaming out here. We have too many. And if you get too many deer, what happens is that the population gets unhealthy. And that's because there's not enough food for everybody. And so as a landowner, it's kind of imperative that you harvest some deer. And if you're not a hunter, and you're the attitude, oh, I don't want anybody here hunting, well, your deer are gonna suffer. And that's because they just overpopulate and there's not enough food to go around. So if you don't hunt, you might want to think about letting your best friends, buddy, or whatever control it. You can control who comes in there. But by all means, you need to harvest some of the does because they have twins. And everybody's a buck hunter. Oh, I want to kill a buck. I want to kill a buck. And I like shooting a buck too, but every year I make sure I get quite a few does harvested as well. There it is. There's the pond. I haven't come up here and cut it up yet, but I wanted to show you. We took this out. Our very first video on the skirts, we put this 2-inch PVC pipe in there. And I need to come over and cut that up. Probably use some of that. That's not 2-inch. That's 1.5 inches. Anyway, it's a waste of money, folks. Don't do this. I don't know, one of the government websites had this on. Some university put this in, and we had wire. You know, it's kind of cool going through the caps and all that. You don't need this. That one skirt right there costs you some bucks. Just run a piece of poly tape around the edge of it, or Powerflex poly braid. Let's go over and see what we got on ours right here. I think it's white tape, but I don't want to lie to you. It could be rope. There's our fish attractants. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 big cedar trees in there. And that's for the bait fish to get around and breed and have little ones. And the bigger fish can't eat them all because they got a place to go hide. Okay, here's a reel that we can take up now. Ouch. Yeah, so they just got poly braid on it. Anyway, that works. The tape, I don't know what happened to it. It ended right there. Oh, I know what it was. We used to go from there straight across there, and then the level of the pond dropped. We had to move our fiberglass post out in the water. So this is hot, until I take that reel off right there. When I lift that reel off, it goes cold and I can untie that knot out there. So it's a nice pond. This is on Marshall's farm. Marshall let cattle in here for 50 years. We took it over. It was really muddy. You couldn't even see to the bottom of the pond, and now it's cleared up. We've got fish in here. There's frogs. It's good water, you know. You want your cattle or sheep to drink good water. That's the way it is. Yeah, this is this is one of the roughest pieces of land that I've ever tackled. And when Marshall owned it, this whole ridge was solid 100% cedar. You could not ride a four-wheeler down this ridge. You couldn't ride a four-wheeler down the ridge. You could walk down it, but you couldn't ride a four-wheeler because it looked like that, the whole ridge. And I came in here after work. That's when I worked in town with a Steel 026 chainsaw. And I could cut about 300 cedars a night before I was given out, or before it got dark. And so I cut this whole thing off by hand. Well, then I got a skid steer and I pushed all the brush back in here. 10 years later, I hired Johnny to come in here and he pushed all the stumps out. Most of the small trees had rotted out, but there were some big ones in here. And he pushed them out. When I cleared this, folks, it was solid moss. Green moss. I was going to show you some if I could find some, but I can't find any. That's because, look what I've got going on here, folks. There's cow manure here. Here's sheep manure right here. Sheep manure. Sheep are putting really a lot of pressure on the autumn olive sprouts. You can kind of see with the part that they graze, the lower portion of the plants. And so we'll come in here and brush hog this. We'll coppice them. We'll mow them off and keep them at this height. It makes really good browsing for your sheep and your goats if you got goats. And cattle. Cattle will eat the tips of them. I mean, sheep have worked that. They've worked that one over pretty good. We just gave them a steady supply in front of them. They've got more in the next paddock than they had in this one. But the autumn olive, folks, this is one that will take your farm. It absolutely will take it. And if you don't stay on top of these things and you want it to go back to nature, well, your nature's going to be solid autumn olive. Solid. Nothing else but autumn olives. This plant right here. And they brought them in back in the 1800s. I read up on the history. I think they came from China. They brought them in as hedges. And they're nasty. I mean, look at that. That is a thorn that'll go right through a leather glove. I mean, they're sharp. You don't want to just reach in and grab a hold of an autumn olive when you cut it. You got to baby them things. I have found out when you take a skid steer and push the whole autumn olive tree over and just remove it like a big one, you know, one that's like 20 feet high, all you do is make that autumn olive mad. You make it mad. It'll come back from the roots, 50 of them. I'm not exaggerating. You'll have 50 sprouts coming up out of the dirt in the ground, and every one of them is fastened back to that main stump that you pushed out. So cut them. Cut that puppy off and paint it immediately with crossbow and diesel fuel. Done. Done. Kills them deader than a hammer. You don't have all this. Okay? These were pushed out. You know, I wanted to get it done. I'd have been better off to come in here and cut them, painted the stumps, and then I wouldn't have had them all. But, you know, when you got sheep, okay. It's a food source of landowners. It's a sore subject with landowners, let me tell you. This is Steve and Cindy's, and they don't like them, and I don't blame them. So we have to brush hog this every 2 years just to keep them at waist height. But we're controlling it. We still got a lot of grass in here now. We're happy with that. And we got clover. There's clover all over. Did that rhyme? clover all over. I think it does. We're happy with what we got going on here. We bought in, there's 82 bales up there. That'll all be unrolled on these ridges. The original lifetime lease farm across the road over here on Gordon's. Back on Francis's, there's 1, 2, 3. There's 4 farms that are gonna get those 82 bales. And they're gonna be unrolled to the cattle because the sheep do not get any hay all winter. We learned many years ago, if you unroll that hay to the sheep, all they do is go and lay on it. They don't eat hay. Not our hay. Now, if you bought alfalfa hay, they'd probably eat some of that, but you'd go broke feeding alfalfa hay to sheep. So our sheep will do just fine on this. All these sprouts, down in the woods eating dry oak leaves, occasional acorn, honeysuckle. They love honeysuckle. This one right here, buckbrush. I'm not gonna break this off. See that? It's got red berries on it. Sheep tear those up in the wintertime. They eat all those red berries. So buckbrush, as bad as it is a good sheep feed for winter. These red berries are very palatable. Look at them. So the next pass through, things get a little thin. Sheep are gonna be nailing them. But with that, I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. Alex is needing some help up here. And we're gonna get those sheep settled in. And you all have a great day, and we'll see you next time, and happy Thanksgiving.